بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أعزائنا الحضور، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كما عودناكم في ديوانية الجمعية، اليوم عندنا لقاء مع المتخصص السيد جيمس ميستري من دبي من شركة جام إيفنت. وقبل ما نبدأ نحب نتعرف شوية كده بس على الجمعية. طبعا الجمعية صناعة الفعاليات الاحترافية بدأت في يناير عام 2020 السنة الماضية، مؤسسة من مجموعة من الخبراء السعوديين بالمملكة العربية السعودية، وهي أول جمعية متخصصة في صناعة الفعاليات، وجمعية غير ربحية لتطوير السوق والتدريب وتحفيز المبادرات. للاشتراك في عضوية الجمعية على الرابط الموضح على الشاشة pksa.org/membership-1. وطبعا في عندنا 3 أنواع من العضويات، وكمان في عندنا خصم 50% للأعضاء الطلاب. طبعا نسعد متابعتكم على وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي، تويتر وفيسبوك وانستغرام ويوتيوب. القناة الخاصة بنا فيها جميع المقابلات والإيفنتس والندوات اللي تم تنفيذها منذ ما تم إنشاء الجمعية. وقريبا حيكون في عندنا برضو حساب على برنامج لينكدين. اليوم لقاءنا مع متخصص متواجد في دبي وبدأ من بريطانيا، وحيكون اليوم اللقاء بالإنجليزي. ما أدري إذا كان في أحد معانا، بس أنا شايف الآن يمكن العدد لسه ما تكون. لاحقا حقدر أسأل إذا كان في أحد يحب إنه أترجم له أو لا. Today our meeting is with Mr. James Mistry, founder and managing director, Jam Event Services, an event professional with 15 years experience and deep knowledge of the industry, having worked all across Europe and GCC, starting in the event production and moving into event safety. James founded Jam in London six years ago, before moving the company to its new base in the UAE 4 years ago. Jam provides 3 main offerings: events, health and safety, supplying event production, professional and permanent venue services. Event health and safety consultancy includes assuring compliance with the authorities' requirement, safe pre-production planning and on-site delivery. Whilst overseeing all projects, James has delivered an event such as Apple Music Festival in London, PlayStation Lounge in Lebanon, to the Saudi World Cup and Dar'iyya Oasis, and he recently worked in the Riyadh Oasis, which was starting in the beginning of the year and has been stopped for a while. Hopefully it will go back again to work. With the arrival of COVID-19 in 2020, Jam delivered H&S teams for the temporary hospital building in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The COVID-19 learning on this building were brought onto the H&S delivery of numerous events in 2020 and 2021, including the Dubai Ride 2020 with 25,000 packs in October 2020, the largest gathering of its type in the COVID-19 time. With Jam with JAM being the forefront of assisting agencies and government entities in delivering safe events in the GCC region. The JAM HNS team are working in Jeddah and NEOM on special projects and look forward to continue to help KSA building its health and safety standards in order to keep all stakeholders and guests safe. The growth of KSA is really exciting for all the electric buzz around even the ever-growing events calendar and season in something that JAM looks forward to being part of. And before we welcome Mr. James, I would like to just stop for 2 minutes to introduce the association, Professional Event Industry Association, PIA, for in Arabic. Actually, this is the first time this advertisement infographic will be played. So this will be an occasion tonight to launch it.
جمعية صناعة الفعاليات الاحترافية هي جمعية أهلية مهنية غير ربحية تأسست في شهر يناير من عام 2020 للميلاد. تتكون من أعضاء لهم علاقة بصناعة جميع أنواع الفعاليات. رؤيتنا أن نكون رواد تطوير صناعة الفعاليات الاحترافية في المملكة العربية السعودية. رسالتنا الوصول إلى أعلى درجات الاحترافية تماشياً مع رؤية المملكة العربية السعودية 2030 وتطبيق أفضل المعايير العالمية في صناعة الفعاليات الثقافية والترفيهية والرياضية والمؤتمرات والمعارض وجميع المناسبات العامة والخاصة للوصول إلى الاحترافية المهنية والتطوير المستدام. أهداف الجمعية: تطوير سوق صناعة الفعاليات المحلي، تدريب العاملين في القطاع الخاص على التقنيات الحديثة، تحفيز المبادرات والأعمال الإبداعية. تضم الجمعية مجموعة من اللجان الإدارية وتتكون من أعضاء الجمعية وهدفها تطوير خدمات الجمعية باستمرار. أما اللجان التخصصية للجمعية فهي أيضا تتكون من أعضاء الجمعية الفاعلين لتحقيق أهداف الجمعية، وهم لجنة الفعاليات الثقافية، لجنة الفعاليات الترفيهية، لجنة المناسبات. تضم الجمعية مجموعة من اللجان الإدارية وتتكون من أعضاء الجمعية. للاشتراك في العضوية على الرابط الموضح. ويسعدنا متابعتكم على وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي. جمعية صناعة الفعاليات الاحترافية، معكم للتطوير.
Okay, we are back. As usual, we have a dialogue with our guests, some questions and answers from our management and production, plus maybe also some case study later by the end of the discussion with Mr. James. And we will open the floor for question and answer, or any one would like to make a note or something and make a question for James about the subject of today. Health and safety, Mr. James, welcome tonight with us.
Thank you very much, Abdul Wahab. Great to be here today.
In fact, we want to know more about JAM events. I introduced a little bit, but maybe I need to hear from you more, if you don't mind.
Not a problem. Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you for the invitation to come on. Great to be here today. Great to see the work the association are doing and be part of that as well. So that's fantastic. Thank you. So in terms of JAM and kind of where we are now, so we've been in the region for 4 years. As you detailed, there's kind of 3 main areas. We have event safety, supplying production professionals, and then it's delivering those services into events and then permanent venues as well, which is something we've moved into in the last year or so. I think today it would be good to go a little bit deeper into the health and safety side of the business and what we do there. In terms of JAM in KSA, we've been working there for 3 years now, and it's a larger and larger percentage of our business work is ending up there, which is great for us. We very much enjoy working in the region. So yeah, it's good to be providing health and safety services in terms of pre-production planning for events, and then the on-site management, and a lot of other aspects of safety that comes with that in terms of training, management systems for the events companies who are working on these events. And yeah, it just keeps growing and growing, which is great for us.
Okay, I was muted. So where about you've been working in Saudi Arabia, and action which has been already done in the past?
Across the last 3 years, we've been right across the kingdom. So, you know, currently we are, as you mentioned, we're on Riyadh Oasis. We've been on this since the start of the year. And unfortunately, like you said, this is closed due to regulations at the moment, but hopefully this will be back up and running soon. But where have we worked? We've been in Riyadh, Diriyah, Jeddah, Neom, so we've Dammam as well. So we've been right across KSA, and the conversations are opening up for further places as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you work with the government only, authorities of the events like GIA, or on which part in the market you work with? Companies, suppliers?
So a little bit of all of those, Abdul Wahab. Let me explain a little bit further there. So traditionally, we were kind of working with creative marketing agencies, with event organizers. So the companies who are putting on the events, and we'd help them with their pre-production paperwork. That's getting together all of the safety work for the company, for the event company, and all of the suppliers which they are using as well. This has grown naturally, and you know, we are now helping suppliers get their paperwork in check. So we work directly with suppliers. For example, something like Formula E at the moment, we worked with 2 companies who were delivering services there, who needed their paperwork to be at the high standard of Formula E. So they come to a company like ourselves to assist them with that. So that's the suppliers, that's the event organizers. There's then the government entities. I won't go into too much detail, but in the UAE, we've been working with a government entity for just over 9 months now on a large piece of work, which will be released later in the year. So it is right across the board there. The services we offer can benefit kind of everyone along the spectrum who's involved in the events game.
Mm-hmm. What attracted you to come to Saudi Arabia? Is it only the business, or there is something else that we can share?
It's the chaos, you know. It's we love a challenge and we love chaos. You know, from working in the UAE, I think the first time I worked in KSA was actually on the groundbreaking ceremony for Qiddiya. And you know, it's the people in KSA are warm. The people in KSA are happy that we are coming to KSA to share education, training, to share services, to help with the growth. And it's that side of it. You can see there's so much potential there, you know, with, as you know and understand, in the last 2 years, the explosion in the event scene. It's an exciting time to be working in KSA. Obviously, there's large investment that has come with that. So, you know, they now have the budgets, they now have the freedom to put on really great shows. So it's, I think there's a lot of opportunities there, and it's exciting times to help the country move forward as well.
Mm-hmm. how do you view the safety in Saudi Arabia currently for the event?
You know, we've worked with a lot of different companies, lots of different types of companies, and I think there's not as strict. I guess there's not such strict policing of event safety as there is compared to Europe or other countries like that. I think it's obviously there are regulations, there are guidelines, you know, which need to be followed. But I think sometimes it can be easy to ignore these, and safety can sometimes be the last consideration for a company. I think something we're seeing more and more is certain companies are understanding the importance of safety now. 2 weeks ago, we were working with a company in Riyadh, and we've just implemented their whole event management, event safety management system internally within the company. It's not something they had before, but it's something with tenders that were coming to them and from what they've seen on site that they needed that more. And they see the added value. This can go as another budget line. They can charge against this. They see the added value of keeping their staff safe. They see the added value of that training being passed on to other people and other people on site. And it's kind of, it picks up pace. And when you see that within a company that you're working with, that's great for us because they see the added value. It's not just something they have to comply with. They see the bigger picture. So I think event safety in the kingdom, you know, there's a lot to do and it depends where you are, but it's great to see certain companies, certain authorities, etc., paying more attention to this. And obviously that's necessary with the size of events, with not just the size of events, but the frequency, the sheer volume of events going on at one time. It needs more attention, and it's good to see it moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. So there is an improvement in this sector and requirement going on more and more, I believe.
100% from where it was, you know, 3 years ago was the first time I did an event in KSA to what I've seen in the last year, massively. It's being understood more, and it's there's more availability of safety, you know, safety companies, safety professionals who are working in the region. So it's, you know, something I'll talk further more about later on. It's education and training. It's not the case of bringing someone in, getting them to do the safety. There's the education of everyone involved within the events organization, within the full event cycle. There's the education, the training, and experience. Experience is something that some Saudi Arabian companies, they lack at the moment, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there wasn't these huge events on the scale that they are now. With that, it's, you know, you can't expect someone to have 20 years crowd management experience within the kingdom if they haven't, you know, if there hasn't been large scale events all the time. So it's very much, it's education, it's training, it will, you know, which is what JAM will be a part of in the kingdom as well. And it's, you know, that doesn't happen overnight, but, you know, in answer to your question, has it moved forward? Yes. In 5 years' time, will we be light years ahead from where we are now? Yes. So it's, yeah, it's definitely moving in the right direction.
Actually, this is what I've been calling since long time ago, and I'm happy to see this is going into the right direction. Can you tell us a little bit in short points what we need to happen for an event organizer or supplier to make sure the delivery of safe events? What is the main issue that they have to look into it?
I think it's, you know, with event safety, it's a case of there's all the parts to it. It's not a case of you can look at just one part, but you need to, an event organizer will be bringing in the suppliers. They need to check the suppliers they are using are competent. They need to check the suppliers that they are using are working to certain standards and basic PPE, have the right equipment, are using it in the correct way. They need to check the event site that they're working with. They need to check the timelines that they've given themselves and the people working there are reasonable and are practical based on the activities. I think it's also, you know, any large, we see also a lot of mid-sized companies who are suddenly turning into large-sized companies. And at that point, they haven't delivered events on such a scale before. So I think it's a real key thing, I would say, is getting consultancy at an early stage. You know, it's companies like Jam, it's companies similar to ourselves. You can pick up the phone, you can speak to them for 15 minutes, you know, when you're in those early stages of planning an event. And that 15-minute call, that can be really crucial. That can really give you, you know, that's at the point where you can go from the information you've just given me, Abdul Wahab, this is my red flag. This is my issue here. You want to have that many people coming onto a site that big in that short amount of time. There's a problem there. We need to look further. So I think it's definitely about, it's speaking to people with experience, speaking to people with the education, the experience, who have gone through it before. And I think that's in abundance in the region now. So it's that would be my advice for when you're first looking at an event in the early stage, in the planning stage.
Actually, this is leads to the information to our organizers and who are building up an event, that they must take care about the time consumed for the measurement of safety and the requirement of safety. Because in the past, people, they just look for how to arrange the stage quickly and to manage the staff to get in and out, and just the basic requirement without looking into safety or any other requirement. And this is sometimes the venue itself, at the time where the organizer, and especially for medium-sized and small events, when they are in hotels or in boardrooms, the customer or the client does not think about time consumption for this kind of requirement. They think only just, okay, you have to build up the stage, put some lights and sound, and that's off you go. This is not right at really from what you are saying. And what we would like also always to promote, that you have to take the right time, enough time for your setup to fulfill all the requirement for safety, because if safety is not taken in consideration, then all your business can collapse in 1 minute. And I have seen things happen like that. That company, they lost a big amount or a lot of customer because of just the small issues of safety. They don't take care about it.
100%. And as you know, Abdul Wahab, it often comes down to budget, you know. And with companies, we meet companies often. We explain our services to them. Some of them are like, this is amazing. We didn't know this existed. This is fantastic. How can we work together? Tell us what we need to do. They get it straight away. They see it straight away. We speak to other companies who say, we've never used safety. Why would we need it? And, you know, we had one company turn around and goes, no one's died on my site. And I was like, well, will you call us afterwards? Once they have died, will you give us a call then? And, you know, we can see about doing something then. So it's, you know, we understand there's budget limitations, but, you know, there's basic consultancy, there's basic things you can do, there's basic management programs you can put in place to alleviate that. So it's, yeah, budget, it shouldn't be budget led all the time, yeah.
So you're confirming that not everybody understanding this important issue, and everybody should be really put this in consideration for all their budgets in the future, because from my experience in the market, a lot of event management company, when they do competing, lowering budgets, they don't consider safety requirement, and they just want to win the event by any chance. And this is really not right. They should really put the safety requirement, all the issues into consideration. I mean, some events well, a lot of events I have experienced in the past when I was visiting or attending, even fire extinguisher, they don't have anywhere in the place. Yani that very simple thing. Even during the setup, you have to have these kind of requirement for the safety of the place, your people, and your equipment.
100%, it's getting better. As I said before, it won't happen overnight, you know? And, you know, some of the companies we work with, we don't go in and we try and say, right, from today, you have to do X all the way to Z, because that's not realistic. It won't happen, you know? So it's a slowly approach. And I think that's the way it has to be. And just as we've seen in other countries which have a more developed safety kind of system, it will get to the point where everyone's working at the same stage, but it will take a while to get there. In that meantime, as you know, as safety advisors, as people consulting on these events, we need to look for, you know, the major red flags to make sure they don't happen. And it's you know, it's, as I said, it's slowly. It is getting better, but there's a lot of work to do, yeah.
It's the requirement for the health and safety. There are different requirements in country and another, or there are some basics which is you can find it everywhere?
I think there's international guidelines, there's international codes, and, you know, but every country has its own guidelines which it needs to work to. So there's a lot of building code, Saudi building code we have to lean to. There's documentation from GIA in Saudi, which we also have to take into consideration. But when working in Saudi, we'll be looking at a lot of the international regulations as well. But we need to make sure that localized, we're abiding by those rules and regulations. For us, it's also, you know, we're doing jobs in Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc. So we need to make sure wherever we're working, we are working to those local codes.
Okay. How do you view the current outlook on crowd management, if we talk about crowd management in the kingdom, as the size is getting bigger? This is yani, a question, I could say it before COVID-19. And what is the situation after now?
I think you know, one thing that COVID-19 brought was more attention to event safety, because suddenly some people had to, you know, before it wasn't a consideration for some people. When COVID-19 hit, they were like, hold up, who's dealing with COVID-19 on the event side? Okay, the safety guys will do that. It's with them. So I think that's, you know, COVID-19 brought the safety advisor into the limelight more within events. In terms of crowd management and large-scale events in KSA, I think it's, as I said before, you know, apart from certain cultural events, you didn't have these large gatherings of people, you know? There is a lot more crowd management specialists available now. There's a lot working in KSA already. So I think it's, again, this goes back to training, education. There's a lot of training and education needed for the Saudi population, you know, and that's the key thing which has to happen, especially with crowd management, especially with event safety. So I think it's the future of it, I want and I hope that more education and more training is given so that we don't see any large accidents or anything like that, or any large incidents, I should say. So I think it's, again, going back with crowd management, with event safety, it's training, it's education, it's consultancy with specialists. That's the way I see forward. That's the way it should be as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so anyway, I think you are one of the companies or the sector that they benefit from COVID-19 and not like the others.
It's you're not the first person to say that. We've been very lucky in the last year or so. We've had a number of projects to see us through, in different areas of the market. With that, some of them have been COVID-19 based. We'll look at some case studies at the end. You can see some of the work we've done there. But I think I'll take what you said with a pinch of salt. Benefit, I don't think COVID-19 has been of benefit to anyone. I think any events company who is still working now, who's still moving forward, who still has a team, that's a great place to be in. We all know many companies that aren't in that situation, so we consider ourselves grateful. Yeah, I don't think we've benefited, but we're like everyone else, we're pushing on through.
Okay. Okay. What are the next steps here for this issue, especially
for event safety? As I said before, Abdul Wahab, for us, it's so Jam is putting roots in the Middle East as we speak, which is fantastic. And I think what is the future there? The future, I've said it a couple of times now, it's education, it's training, it's working with the locals, it's passing across experience, education, and knowledge into practical use on the ground. And like many people in the events industry, we want to see KSA's event industry continue to grow. And the way we will do that is by working with the community, with the local event community, looking to grow that, looking to expand it, and looking to pass that knowledge on. And it's, for me, it's the next generation of event safety people within the kingdom. That's what I'm interested to see. It's, we're not the first company to do event safety in the kingdom. We won't be the last, but we're definitely at the forefront at the moment, and we wanna work to push it and grow the next generation.
So where do you see Jam fit into KSA market?
Jam, I think in terms of fitting into the KSA market, we're already there. We're already, we have been for a long time. So I think it's, we'll continue to work with a lot of the event organizers. We'll continue to work with suppliers in KSA, and we'll continue our conversations and our work with certain ministries. And we want to be there to support. We want to be there to help grow. And as I said, for us, and an active part of what we'll do, education and training, we want to be involved in this to help build the knowledge in the younger events community in KSA.
So the future in KSA and the safety is really, we could say, is promising as a safety company, consultancy, and follow-up.
I think it's the opportunities in the events industry in KSA is, it's an exciting time. You've got events like Formula One, which are coming, and it's the opportunities for the younger generation to be involved in something like this. This will be the first year of Formula One in KSA. In 20 years, that race should still be going in KSA. So I think it's, for a safety company like ourselves, you know, across the region, there's great events to be involved in, and there's great opportunities to help train the next generation.
Mhm. You mentioned about education training. Tell us more about that. Are you planning to do kind of courses, or you see there is a need to make an academy for that?
I think, you know, there's ongoing conversations at the moment. You know, we've spoke about this ourselves, Abdul Wahab, many times, and it's there's different routes. There's different routes. There's different buy-ins from ministries, from other agencies, and I think it's, as long as the end goal is always the same, however we get there, it doesn't really matter, you know. So whether, or, you know, where the education comes from, where the training comes from, I don't think is the problem. You know, I don't think will be an issue. And yes, we will be involved in delivering some of this, but it's moving that, you know, classroom training to on the ground. It's the on the ground experience. And that's where you need both parts. You can have the education, but without the experience, it's nothing. You're reading a textbook. There's nothing there. You have to have the on the ground experience. And that's where we see JAM can come into play. There can be the educational side, then there can be on the ground. You can go on the ground with our guys and learn that way. That, for me, that's the key to moving forward, yeah.
But there is no any kind of international certificate from some other academies or associations that are well known or approved by governments, that if I have this certificate, that I'm now okay to work in safety or my company requirement or something like that?
There is a host of certification you can get in terms of event safety, you know, and that depends which country, whether you're coming from Europe, whether you're looking at the American system. There is a whole host of available courses, yeah. But just for example, you know, in the UK, the NIBOS General or International Certificate is taken as kind of the baseline for event safety. This is actually a construction, you know, the course here is based on construction. So something like that, it's, yes, you could take the NIBOS International Certificate. That can give you the baseline understanding, but you need 5 years event experience, you know? When you have people who have 5 years event experience, they're then going on to look at some safety qualifications. This is ideal. This is perfect. But something which you can, you know, can cause problems is some people will say, okay, I will go and do XYZ certificate. They will go and take that certificate and go, I'm now a safety officer. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't think I've never seen you on site. I've never, so it's, you know, this is just my personal opinion. So there is a number of courses. I think there's room for more event-specific courses. Whichever accredited body wants to put their name to that, that's another conversation. But I think there's room there. And I think there's also, for somewhere like KSA, it needs to be specific to the region that you're working in. That's key. It's, you know, what's happening in different countries, it's different to how it works in KSA. It should also have the KSA legislation and guidelines. So I think there's room for movement there.
So there are from GIA or from other authorities in the event market in Saudi Arabia, did you find that there are some requirements by them that you have to follow?
GIA have released 2 documents, you know, which, but I think one problem we have is different ministries, it sometimes feels like they're not aligned. So I think it's to have an overarching understanding across KSA. This is why I said I think there's room there, because there's not something solid, overarching, which is understood everywhere. there's also two parts to that. There's the education, there's the qualification, there's the accreditation. It's then people understanding it. You know, if you have this qualification, what do these people know? What is the limit of their knowledge? It's, as I said before, you can have people calling themselves, I'm a crowd management specialist. I'm an event safety specialist because I've done this course. What do they actually know from that? You know, what has that course taught them? So I think there's, you know, that goes deeper into the education and the understanding.
Mm-hmm. What about the certificate OSHA or SHA?
So OSHA, yeah, 100%. So OSHA is the American system. With this, you have, there is a number of courses which are from 2 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, etc., etc. You can do blocks of them. It's the American system, you know. As I said, I mentioned the UK NIBOSH. It's another system. In Germany, there is stage technology bachelor's degrees which you can do. As I said, each country or area has different takes on it, which has different information, but that's exactly it. You know, other people have said to me before that I have OSHA. It's like, you have OSHA what? Which part of the OSHA system do you have? Other people go, oh, he's got NIBOSH. I was like, okay, NIBOSH do a variety of certificates, which last from 3-day courses to diplomas. All of these are at different levels. So I think it's, this again goes to what I just said. It's the education, it's the understanding. Phrases like, I've got OSHA, I've got NIBOSH, they get bandied about too much without people understanding what it means or what's the detail behind that. So that's again why I think there's room there to you know, to bring maybe a different system. Yeah.
Maybe I think in the future, the market and even international market needs some kind of international certificate with different kind of events, because into entertainment event it needs some different requirement than business events and so on. It has to be at least known, because as you said, I have OSHA certificate, but there are some levels in it, and also the standards is for American. It doesn't apply here or there. So I think this is really a big issue in the future for the international market. It has to be like a UN certified classes for every country in the world, which is at least minimum the base of the safety, and then on top of that you go into other levels.
I think, you know, there's there are countries who are operating safety management systems and event safety very well. So I'm not I think I'm not looking to yeah, I don't think, I think they should be left as they are, you know. But I think, you know, my thoughts on that is there's room in KSA to put some systems in place which can work across the whole region. There's room for education, there's room for training, and there's and more of that is needed. You know, I think it's think locally for KSA, because that's compared to some other countries and regions we've worked in. I think that's where the effort should be focused, and it needs more attention at the moment.
I believe you told me that you prepared some case studies to share with us, if you don't mind.
Sure, I'll just go through these very quickly. I'm sure everyone is busy. Okay, you can see this, Abdul Wahab?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll just talk quickly through. This is a few events that we have worked on recently in the last couple of years. So Diriyah Oasis, you know, we very much look forward to the seasons returning once COVID is more at bay, whenever this may be. But we worked with Evolution Events, long-term client of ours who delivered the Diriyah Oasis. This for us was a 4-month project, and we had up to 12 health and safety guys on site at one time. And that was very much from the pre-production planning stages, so 1 month before we even got onto site, and then multiple months on site for the build, and then through to the live phase, and then the breakdown phase. This was a fantastic event for us. It was also a fantastic event to see what's possible in Saudi Arabia and you know, the efforts that were put in there. So this was a more recent event. This was the Dubai Ride. So there was 25,000 people on the Sheikh Zayed Road. This was October, so 4 or 5 months ago. This was the largest event in terms of capacity in the region at the time. For us, we did all of the crowd management, all of the event safety, and a lot of this was about how we keep people apart, how you get such large amounts of people coming onto one track. They obviously all can't enter at the same point. So we had 8 different entrances. It's all of the crowd modeling and crowd flows around this. So this was, this kept the guys very busy. But for us, it was fantastic to be able to put all of the COVID-19 knowledge that we'd learned from the previous 8 months into an event, and yet again being at the forefront with creative agencies in delivering something like this in COVID times. It also shows the rest of the world it is possible. You can deliver safe events if you have the knowledge, if you have the understanding, and if it's managed correctly. So this was another event which had a heavy COVID-19 basis. So KISS, the rock band who were playing at the Atlantis for the New Year's Eve. With this, there was a crew of 200 American riggers, lighting specialists, etc., coming over. And there was a lot of concern about keeping them safe, keeping our local teams safe, etc., etc. We worked very closely with the American hospital and basically built an on-site PCR testing station, and everyone was PCR tested for, I think it was between 14 to 21 days. And we had rigorous kind of safety planning or rigorous COVID-19 management planning. We had different bubbles, we had hotels separated, we had suspected case procedures, confirmed case procedures, etc., etc. It went very deep, and that's what needed to happen again at this time. It wasn't huge amounts of people, it was a small amount of people, but we had to keep everyone safe and we had to keep everyone working so the event could go ahead. I think it had 5 world records or something like this, so it was a fantastic event for Dubai to have as well. So it was more on the COVID safety. So it was our standard event safety, but then a deep COVID safety presence we had for this one as well. Going back a couple of years, we got the Special Olympics here, which was in Abu Dhabi. This was across 7 sites in the UAE, and JAM was on 3 of these sites with 2 different agencies. And then closing here just with Middle Beast. Obviously, this was a large event with Sela playing a huge part, and Sela was our client on this. We supported them with some extra event safety guys, and then the we provided crowd management specialists to work with the traffic management teams for the access and egress in and out of the venue with 100,000 plus people. So that's just a little snippet there, Abdul Wahab, of some of the jobs we've done. I could easily go on all night, but I won't go much further on those.
Yeah, actually, we don't want to take too much of the time. Actually, also our time of this webinar comes to nearly to the end, but we will let some questions at the moment. And we opened the question from Mr. Tariq. What's the difference between risk management and safety of an event?
What's the difference between risk management and safety for an event? Risk management and safety are very similar. You know, risk management, you're managing the risks of an event. Safety management, you're looking after the safety. For me personally, they're one in the same thing.
Okay, and talking about education and training, if there is any specialized certification that, well, I think we already talked about it.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think we need to answer it. Another question from Rami. With the state of the event world, what regionally applicable courses would you recommend for event freelancers, producers, project and production managers looking for pivot towards event safety? There is any courses?
I think that's one, you know, one thing which we have seen in the last 12 months is, you know, the opening up of the events world and companies speaking a lot more to each other, sharing a lot more information. So in terms of event safety, there are a host of courses, of free courses. If you want to send me an email afterwards, I'm happy to do some introductory emails to, there is some individual consultants who have online courses you can do for free. There is also other specialists who have compiled all of these lists into one area. I'd be happy to forward this on. There is a lot of resource out there. There's also a lot of free resource as well for personal development. So if there is a large amount there, I'd be more than happy to forward some information to whoever would like it.
Great, thank you very much. If there is any other question, we can take it from the attendees. Abdullah Muhammad, is the crowd management applied to the same from country to another? I believe there are differences, as you said.
Crowd management, there is globally there's a good understanding in terms of crowd management. I think there is different rules and regulations. You know, you have something like the Event Safety Guide coming from USA, which has crowd capacities and how you can look at it. You have something like the Purple and Green Guide from the UK, which has a slightly different take on it. So I think, you know, even with this, there's slight changes. So something like crowd management, I think the general information, the basic understanding, they all have slightly overlapping, slightly different ways to look at, say, emergency egress. But it's not that one is wrong or the other one is right. They're appropriate for different situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I see there is no more questions. If you have anything for closing.
I just want to say thank you very much. As I said, thank you for inviting me for the talk. Great to see what the association is doing, what the future of the association looks like, and thank you everyone for attending today.
Thank you very much. And if you don't mind, leave in the chat your contact or anything that if somebody would like to be in contact with you.
Okay, could I screen share there, Abdul Wahab?
Yeah, of course, sure. Yes.
Then I can just Yeah, there's some contact details there. Alternatively, they can get in contact with you, Abdul Wahab, and if you could pass that on, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Anything regarding this or other issues in the event industry, we are always welcoming any question, and we do answer and reply to emails. This is very important, that we are happy always to answer any even small question. Don't hesitate to send email or even to our WhatsApp. Maybe in the control they can put for you the WhatsApp number, and it's on daily basis. We can answer immediately. I don't know if somebody is there or not, but anyway, I see there is maybe Abdurrahman. If you can put the WhatsApp number in the chat. This is also a telephone number on WhatsApp, and another one for WhatsApp and call anytime, and email, which is for info@pia.org. It is in the chat. Anything regarding the event industry, we'll try our best to answer. And please keep your eyes on us on the social media. We always there, and please follow us there to get all the new information or activities and events. And for subscribing, pia.org/membership-1. As I said before, it is only at the moment for the Saudi national and Saudi companies. Hopefully in the future will be more widely having more members. And by the end, I would like to thank everybody who attend today webinar, especially the communication committee and committee who organized the events of the association, plus the Eye of Riyadh, who also support our media and our events. Thanks for everybody in all the committees who arrange for any kind of events for the association and for the industry. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وتصبحون على خير. Have a good night, and thank you everybody for attending this webinar. Bye-bye.